variable speed operations of this ACIG, means self-excited induction generators. Means there, when we saw these kind of schemes, this one and then this one, grid connected schemes, they are constant speed operations, as because the generated voltage and frequency should not vary, right? So therefore, fixed speed operation is the best option for them. Now, in order to make it variable speed, and even then the energy is, usable by the consumers or can be transportable to the grid. So this is the scheme similar to the synchronous generator scheme what we saw. So now here actually this is the induction generator, squirrel cage type, and then this is coupled to the wind turbine. Now this you can connect a capacitor here also in order to reduce the reactive power load demanded from this active front end converter, right, rather the generator side converter. So here the capacitor is not shown, just is a schematic diagram. So now what happens when there is a variable speed on this wind turbine, so the generated voltage and frequency will vary. Now this converter actually will supply reactive power to the system at that frequency at which it is rotating, and will convert the developed power rather to a DC, and then dump it to the DC bus. So therefore the DC bus voltage will try to rise up because the active power is rectified and given to the DC bus. And the reactive power demand at the frequency of rotation with a sleep demand is actually supplied by this converter to the generator. Okay, and then this DC bus voltage will rise, and this converter actually what happens, this converts the DC bus voltage to fixed frequency AC voltage here at the output, and then this transformer is for boosting up if the DC voltage bus voltage is not high enough. So then, and this is connected to the grid. Now the control action of this one is to actually supply reactive power and bring active power and rectify it and dump it to the grid. And this converter actually will have will be operating based on the available you can say information of phase and frequency of this utility connection. At the same time, it will try to fix the grid voltage to a value, to a fixed value. Means you can have a grid voltage reference, sorry, DC bus voltage reference. So then the advantage of this is that it will be able to make best use of the available power, because the power at all the speeds they are getting trapped and then getting transmitted either to utility grid, or you can connect a load also here, right? But the disadvantage is that again we got two converters in cascade, back-to-back converters, the generator side converter and the grid side converter, and again another transformer. And these three also will have the same capacity of that of the generator. That means if this generator is 1 megawatt, this can have to handle, this has to handle 1 megawatt power, this has to handle 1 megawatt power, this has to handle 1 MVA at unity power factor. So therefore, ultimately, the cost of the system as well as the reliability, cost of the system will rise, reliability will decrease, failure rate will decrease, and the space requirement will be there. It will be a bulky system. So all these things make this a little bit, remote, to apply. But at the same time, again, I am telling, if there are no other means, and this is the most rugged generator, squirrel cage generator, so we can use the squirrel cage generator with this scheme for generating electricity at a fixed voltage and fixed frequency depending on the demand. So that this is the construction of the, say, back-to-back converters. This is the generator side, this is the grid side, and this is the DC link, and ultimately there will be drivers and all. So this you know, right? So now this is a full converter, means actually back-to-back converter diagram. Let's say. Now variable speed induction generator speed, right? Now we come to this situation where we are using the slip ring machines. Now till now we are using this generator, and again this generator. This we are using as squirrel cage induction generator. That means there is no access to the rotor terminals. Rotor is having cage only the control which we are able to impart is only on the stator side, right? Now, if we want to have a control of, say, on the rotor side, so we can have the slip ring generator. Now, what is the advantage from the rotor side? Now, just come to the characteristics part, right? Now, if you see that you know the rotor resistance control for. Now, what happens when the rotor resistance increases? That means an external resistance is inserted into the rotor. What will happen? Now, what will happen increase when we increase the rotor resistance? That means with introduction of rotor resistance, the peak torque will not change. That means peak torque remains constant. But actually, the slope of the torque speed curve, slope of the torque slip curve is actually reducing, right? That means it can happen that the maximum torque can appear at a slip which is -1. The situation, right? This situation. Here, if you see this, so the torque. Now the torque limit at rated resistance can the torque limit at rated torque will actually appear at a speed which is very near to synchronous speed. That means the situation of fixed speed condition, right? Now, when there is a rotor resistance, the same torque is appearing here, right? Say 1 per unit torque is appearing here. That means at a speed which is higher than the much higher than the synchronous speed, maybe 10%, maybe 15%, like that. So now this actually will be helping you to extend the speed range. Now, if it is a 15%, so 15% of 1500 RPM is how much? 225. So then it goes to a speed of 1725 RPM instead of 1560 RPM, what we were using earlier. So I think, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. I got some information that net is unstable, so that is why I am asking. Okay. So then this will help to increase the speed range of the system, right? So then how to do it? Now, initially what happens, some resistances were connected here, and then it is this kind of arrangement, power electronic arrangement. That means this voltage is rectified, this is DC, and there is a on-off transistor. So when the transistor is on, what will happen? These 3 terminals will be shorted. Just you see, the 3 terminals will be shorted. When the transistor is off, resistance will appear. That means if you switch on and off this transistor at a different duty ratio, the effective resistance connected to the rotor will vary. And according to the speed of the wind turbine, if you vary this duty ratio of this transistor switching, so actually a variable rotor resistance can appear to give you a speed range of wider in nature. That means another 10-15% of speed range that can be increased. Okay, so this was a crude method. Means here the resistance would have incurred some losses and overall efficiency of the system would decrease. So therefore, this was the primitive idea. Now, and based on this theory that we knew that if we can vary the rotor resistance, so ultimately the slope of the torque speed curve will change, and this will give you same torque at higher speed, right? So that is what. But the thing is that this technology did not last long because of the higher losses in the system, and at the same time we could develop a different system that would effectively increase the resistance of the rotor without introducing any resistance. So what is done there actually? This is the system. Now, this system actually here, see the difference of this and this. Here we have connected same back-to-back system to the stator, right? And here the same thing, that means same back-to-back converter system is connected to the rotor terminals, and stator is connected to the grid directly. So that is why this kind of system is known as doubly fed induction generator. That means a power line is connected here. That means there is a power exchange can take place between this converter and rotor. So that is why doubly fed. That means stator and rotor both are fed, right? Or both can feed power to the system, right? So then what is the advantage? So instead of doing this and this is the advantage. Now the advantage is that this one, as I have said, that disadvantage was the power handling capability for this converter should be 1 per unit as per the rating of the generator. Now here what we said, that the system will be lossy, as because resistance is introduced, physical resistance, overall efficiency will reduce to a drastic extent, cooling of the resistance arrangement and all those things are there. So this is not a very wise system to be operated. Now here the advantage is that, now first of all you think, so you have used Servius and Kramer drive system, isn't it? Servius and Kramer drive, I mean the slip control of the rotor, right? Now what it does there, actually it handles the rotor power, and rotor power is a slip power, isn't it? Slip power recovery system. So I think you remember slip power recovery. So slip power means the air gap power multiplied by slip is handled by the rotor side. Okay. So then if you see that if your power, stator power is say P, and if you neglect the losses, let us say for time being, we neglect the losses of stator copper loss and core loss, we neglect. The same power P is the air gap power, and the rotor power is S times P. So S is how much? 4%, as I have said, to a full load. So 4% of stator power is actually at the rotor terminal. So that means this converter rating will be only 4%, right? So now if situation arises that we are able to vary the rotor resistance to a large extent with this, that means effective rotor resistance seen by the rotor, right? This can be of course of the order of say 30 to 35% even. So it can operate at a slip of 30%, 35%. That means the power handling capability of these converters will be only 30% of the stator power. That means if the stator handles 1 megawatt power, the rotor side converter will handle 300 kilowatt power, right? So this is much less. So we are able to control a large power with only an active control with for a low power. So that is the reason that in the plot we shown that I'm changing very fast. Sorry, I had here from 2005 and onwards, the entire power control was possible because we were using this system. We are using this system nowadays because we control very less power. Control very less power and actually control at the stator side very large power. So that is the reason. So we are able to control large amount of power in the stator terminals, only by controlling smaller power in the rotor terminals. So this is the actual mode of operation. So that is existing these days. Now this converter is known as rotor side converter, right? RSC, rotor side converter, and this converter is known as grid side converter. Now then, how this is one advantage of this using active control in the rotor terminals instead of this resistive control. Now secondly, let us go to another situation. So now this is understood clearly. So we handle less amount of power here but at the same time we can control large power here. Is this clear to you? Because of slip power handling. Okay, so now we come to a situation. Next come to this equivalent circuit. So now if you see that equivalent circuit of this doubly fed generator, that means rotor side and stator side fed. Now we have, this is the stator side, this is the rotor side, right? And this is the magnetizing branch, and rotor side actually handles the slip frequency. If you see slip frequency, so then if you normalize it to the stator side, the resistance and voltage will be actually V2 by S, R2 by S into 1 minus S. So V2 plus V2 by S into 1 minus S. That means actually it is V2 by S here. If you add them up, and then R2 by S into 1 minus S plus R2 will give R2 by S. So then concentration is required. So what is the air gap power? So air gap power means power crossing this air gap from this side to that side. Actually for generating, power crossing from rotor side to stator side. So what is air gap power then? Air gap power is actually 3I2 square R2 by S. Now if you add them up, it is R2 by S. So 3I2 square R2 by S. This is the rotor resistance power. And then as I have feeding voltage V2 and I2, so this power is also there, 3 V2 I2 cos phi minus theta, because this has got an angle phi, this has got a theta. So cosine of the angle between voltage and current is the total power. So this actually 3 V2 I C I2 square R2 by S plus 3 V2 I2 cos phi minus theta by S, because it was V2 by S, right? Now, if you see the equation, PM and PAG, rotor power and mechanical power, sorry, air gap power and mechanical power equation, there is PM equal to 1 minus S into PAG. Now, if you combine these two, you get actually PAG equal to what? Actually from here, PAG equal to 3I2 square R2, because you multiply by S, SPAG equal to 3I2 square R2 plus 3 V2 I2 cos theta minus phi. So SPAG is what? This one. So SPAG is actually PM minus PAG, right? So then PAG equal to 3I2 square R2 plus 3 V2 I2 cos phi minus theta plus PM. So this becomes the equation, right? This becomes the power balance equation between air gap power, mechanical power, rotor power, and this is the rotor copper loss, 3I2 square R2, right? So now come to the situation. Now, say there can be two situations. One is that the machine is rotating at a speed below synchronous speed, right? The machine is rotating at a speed below synchronous speed. And second condition is the machine is rotating at a speed above synchronous speed. Now, below synchronous speed, as we see that S is positive, right? Slip is positive. If you compute slip below synchronous speed, it will be always positive, right? So then, and again, as we say that the power is from the rotor side to the stator side. So therefore PAG is negative and PM is also negative because it is absorbing mechanical power. So this is PM is negative, PAG is negative, PAG is negative, PM is negative, right? But this one is positive. This one is positive. And if S is actually say a fraction of fraction, so this 1 minus S will be actually less than 1. Say F is say 0.05, so it is 0.95, right? So then PM is 0.95 into PAG, right? So the magnitude of PM is less than PAG. So PAG is more negative, PM is less negative, and this is positive. So then 3 V2I2 cos theta minus phi has to be negative because this has to make more negative, right? More negative. And this negative value has to be more than 3I2 square R2. Just you imagine. Say PM is minus, PAG is minus 10, right? Say PM is minus 8 from this relation. Say PAG PAG is minus 10, PM is minus 8, right? So minus, this is say plus 1. So minus 8 plus 1. So it will be minus 7. So then in order to make it minus 10, this has to be minus 3. Right? So then minus 8 minus 3 plus 1 becomes minus 10. So that means this 3 V2I2 cos phi cos theta minus phi has to be minus, and its magnitude should be more than this one. This cos. So minus of this is minus means actually rotor is absorbing electrical power. That means if we feed electrical power at a suitable phase angle to this system, so this can operate as induction generator even at subsynchronous speed. That means at speed below synchronous speed. Now what we saw earlier, that an induction generator cannot operate below synchronous speed. So that is true for squirrel cage motor because we have no control over the rotor. Now here with rotor control available, we can make it operate as a generator even at a speed less than synchronous speed, right? And when the speed is above synchronous speed, so what happens? S becomes negative. So then 1 plus S. So this is say 1.1 PAG. So PM is greater than PAG and both are negative, right? PM is greater than PAG and both are negative. So say this is say minus 10, this is minus 12, this is minus 12. So then this will be actually positive, this has to be actually positive, and this is very small amount and positive and more is. So therefore this, so at super synchronous speed this becomes positive, at subsynchronous speed this becomes negative. Negative means it is absorbing electrical power, positive means it is delivering electrical power. So that means the super synchronous speed, both rotor and stator, means power can be offered from this side and this side also to the stator, right? That means both rotor and stator will be able to this is the beauty of the system. That means it can operate at a sleep of minus 3%, minus 30% to plus 30%. So minus 30% of say 1500 RPM is 450 RPM above. That means 1950 RPM. And plus 30% sleep means 450 RPM lower. That means 1050 RPM. That means you have got a variation of say around 900 RPM. That means it will be having a flatter criteria, flatter speed, and both subsynchronous and supersynchronous operation is possible for generation. That means a wide variation of speed range is possible. So this is the beauty of the system. So that is the reason. So these days, all generators are operated like DFIGs, doubly fed induction generators. And these doubly fed induction generators can operate at a speed which is less than, at a speed which is less than synchronous speed, known as subsynchronous operation, which is subsynchronous region, and then super synchronous region, right?